all. Welcome to our last and final recorded webinar for the Kalahia 2021 Health Equity Scholars Program. We're super excited to have you here. This is the last one, and we're super excited to kind of roll into next week where we'll have a live session, and I'll talk about that in a little bit before the actual conference, the week of the 22nd. So super, super excited to have you guys, and we're really looking forward to kind of seeing this through. So let's get started. I know you've heard a lot from me in your emails and have probably sent me a couple emails as well. So I'm leading today's session. A quick introduction about me. My name is Camille Cooley. I am a health policy and management student in the School of Public Health at UC Berkeley. I graduated from Northwestern in 2018, studying human development and psych services, and then spent the past 2 years at the University of Chicago doing health policy work, mostly on evaluations of programs coming out of the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. And yeah, I'm really interested in delivery system reform, alternative payment models, and increasing quality healthcare for communities of color. I am primarily a qualitative researcher, so if you are into that, definitely hit me up. Have a lot to talk about for that. And yeah, I'm originally from the LA area, so I'm back in California and I'm super excited to stay here. So this is our agenda for today. The primary purpose of this week's webinar is to think about what are you passionate about? How do you communicate those passions? Particularly in the form of an introduction or an elevator pitch or something akin to that. So this is not only going to be helpful for next Mondays. I'm trying to think about when you're going to see this. February 22nd, meet and greet social, where you're going to be introducing yourself to a number of different impressive healthcare professionals and leaders, but also when you're applying a job. So I know all of you are either juniors or seniors, and maybe you're looking for that next internship or you're looking for a job after graduation. So hopefully this is helpful in kind of thinking through how to kind of pitch yourself. We've had students in the past get job offers or get connected to opportunities through this conference. So, you never know what can come about. And then we're going to wrap things up by going through the webinar activity for this week, which is a bit shorter, so no worries there, and mostly just prepping for the conference. And then talking about next week's live drop-ins over Zoom, where you can meet me and some other Kalahia staff, like not IRL, but like in real time, live. So let's get started. So just a quick review of Kalahia, a statewide research translational center. We connect policymakers to faculty across the UC and the CSUs. Our key priorities are improving health access for all immigrants, building the workforce for health equity, addressing social determinants of health through cross-sector collaboration, and advancing universal health insurance coverage in California. So if anyone asks you what Kalahia is, if you want to give them a spiel, go right ahead. And I hope that you've spent some time exploring our website. All of your lovely pictures and bios are up on the main kind of like scholar page. So if you want to like send them to your family or your friends to show how impressive you are, you definitely can do that. So section 1, the basics. What does health equity policy feel like? What health equity issue are you really passionate about? And how would you communicate this? So really defining health equity and policy and practice. I am not going to read this for you. You can kind of take the time to think through and digest and chew on this, but really thinking about what those root causes of health equity are, like what are the policy issues that really get at that? And like to achieve, true health equity, we really have to think about this interdisciplinarily. So thinking about like the interdisciplines that are required to kind of tackle this. So not just science, but also policy, and also social work, and also the way that we build our cities and the way that we police our cities and things like that. So I know all of you, when you applied to this program, you had to write a little bit about, a health equity issue or a health policy issue that you were really interested in or invested in. So as you move forward in this webinar, kind of think about what you wrote. If you don't remember what you wrote, feel free to email me. I have all those. I can send them back to you. And also begin to think about like, how can you communicate this passion? So how do you bring attention to this issue? How do you connect with others on this issue? And, what kind of work do you want to pursue in the future that kind of addresses this passion that really drives you? Um, and so next up, communicating bold ideas and actions. So what are these bold policy ideas and actions that you have? What do you care about? How do these ideas relate to your career interests? And how do you communicate that persuasively? So before we get started, the reason why we're here, the reason why you're here is to do a meet and greet social with us. So Kalahia has been putting together this really awesome meet and greet. You'll be there, obviously. We'll have Kalahia staff there, ITUP staff there, who are all super interesting. But we're also going to have Kalahia's board of directors. So our board of directors, and as well as ITUP's board of directors, who will be there, are industry leaders, public health leaders, people that work at the state level, who have experience working in the federal level, who run large foundations and know the field really, really well. And they're going to be there to kind of answer your questions, talk to you about their career trajectories, things like that. We're also planning on sending some invites to people that we don't have connections to, that we really want to kind of get to know. So whether that be new leaders at the state level, whether that be the California Attorney General or Surgeon General, things like that, we are reaching out for you. If you have any ideas of people that you would like to invite, let me know. Any kind of people that you want to connect with, we can try to make that happen. But essentially how it's going to work, and this is maybe the most important slide, one of the most important slides, it's a 1 hour long event. At the end of the day of the pre-conference, there'll be introductions at the beginning, but primarily it's going to be made up of two 20-minute breakout groups. Each breakout room will have around 3 to 5 students and 2 to 3 public health professionals / leaders, as well as 1 to 2 Kalahia facilitators. So people from our staff that will kind of moderate things if things get quiet, which hopefully they won't. And who will you be in these rooms with, you ask? Well, a week before the event, I'm going to be sending out a Google form with the list of names of people that will be attending. And so you can rank them, do your research, see who you want to be talking to, who do you want to make connections with, and you can kind of rank them, and I will try my best to get you in breakout rooms with them. So that is what we're preparing for. And maybe not just this, but like any kind of career interview that we have or you have kind of in the future. And so another slide kind of priming you for what we're about to kind of really take on. What are examples of bold ideas and policy actions that matter to you? What health equity or health policy issue do you care about? And even more importantly, how do they relate to your career interests? And how do you translate these career interests into bold ideas, into persuasive pitch of yourself? So developing your introduction. Oftentimes you get asked, tell me a little bit about yourself. And it's really important to know how you want to represent yourself. And this is something that I do. It was taught to me from a lot of really good career advisors. It's been echoed. And I think it's a really great way to answer that question. It's this idea of from here and to there. So everyone is from somewhere. Everyone is here now. And everyone is going somewhere to there. So thinking about the from, it's your identity, it's your past, it's your capabilities, it's your values, it's your beliefs. So thinking about that chosen part of you, your occupations, your hobbies, your interests, your passions. I'm really passionate about, health equity. I'm really passionate about, rare diseases. I'm really passionate about making sure that everyone that needs somewhere to, sleep at night has a bed to lie on. And then there's the core. So the elements that are essential and enduring to you. So your own values and beliefs, indispensable skills, and critical relationships. So say that you've had a mentor that's really guided you the past 4 years as an undergrad. That's a relationship that is core to you. Say that you have grown up as the eldest daughter or son of a family, and you are super, super close with your family, and family is like number one, that's a value. And last but not least, you have given. So things that you don't really have a choice over. So your age, your birthplace, your physical attributes, and also your identity. So are you a first generation college student, college grad? Are you, did you grow up in like communities that are different from my community, like the community that I grew up in? So really thinking about where are you from can kind of give you a good idea of of how you want to represent yourself. Next is everyone is here now. So why did you apply for this health equity scholarship? So obviously, it's nice to have something on your resume. It's nice to, attend a conference for free. But you decided to sit down and write those 2 essays. You didn't have to. Clearly, like you're interested in health equity, you're interested in changing the world, changing your community. Um, and so I think it's important to think about what about the world that do you want to change or your community that you want to change, improve, or create. So that's external. And then think about internally about yourself. What observations, reflections, and assessments can you make about you? What are you wondering about yourself? So I really want to create a world where, let me think, people have increased access to healthcare, can afford healthcare, can see a doctor in their own community, a doctor that looks like them. And what am I wondering about myself? I'm wondering, what am I going to do after graduation? I'm also a student, and do I want to work in a state government or do I want to work for a nonprofit? Um, Things like that. So that is your here. And then where are you going to there? What do you want to gain from the iTOP conference? And what are your ultimate career goals? What questions do you want answered? So thinking about like, what is your vision? Like, what's your vision? What does your future look like for what you care about? How are you participating in that future? So 10 years from now, do you want to kind of influence policy? Do you want to be implementing policy? Do you want to be a position taking care of children? Do you want to be, an advocate? And how are you going to get there? How can the person that you're speaking with help you get there? And I think that's a really important piece of this. So you're going to be talking to people that have had that experience, that have had a career trajectory that's gotten them to a place where they're able to kind of influence the public health ecosystem. And so I find it really helpful to ask someone like, what did you do before this? Like, what did you know? How did you know to like take that first job after college? And who really helped you get there? I think as students, everyone is so willing to help and kind of listen and give their 2 cents and advice. And I think it's really important to kind of take advantage of that and ask as many questions as possible. So now that we understand the from here to there, let's go from here to there and put it all together. And so the goal is to create entry points for a conversation and go beyond yourself by making it easy for others to ask you questions. So when you're in this 20-minute breakout room, what I'm asking you to do is to go around and kind of introduce yourself. Say, who you are, where you're from, and what are you passionate about? So it's not just a regular elevator pitch. You're kind of framing your worldview, your lens. I'm passionate about, food deserts. I'm passionate about the intersection of environmental justice and health. I'm interested in, ensuring that people have access to quality care. So talk about what you're interested in and why, because in the future, I want to be doing this. You kind of lead into what you're hoping to achieve for your own career. And then at the end of it, say, I'm talking to you today because I am really interested in learning about X, Y, and Z. You're interested in learning about how they got to this place in their career. You're interested in learning about, how have they kind of worked in this policy sphere that, looks different today than it did 10 years ago. And how do they kind of contribute to that change? And so one of your assignments for today or this week will be putting together this pitch, this introduction of yourself, and practice a lot in the shower, when you're like on the phone with your friends, and kind of hone it down. You want to make sure that what you're saying truly represents your passions, who you are, where you want to be, where you're going. And I know that sounds like a lot of pressure. It doesn't have to be perfect, but feel comfortable saying this. And feel comfortable with the fact that you're doing just fine. So this is one of your goals for this week. Get ready. Networking is not hard, but it is helpful to kind of have an introduction. And so try to keep your introduction under 2 minutes max. Because it's a 20-minute breakout session, if there are 5 people in your breakout room, that's already 10 minutes. So Ideally, an introduction should be around a minute and a half. So keep it brief, keep it short. And once everyone in your group has sort of said their piece, said their introduction, um, maybe like go around and ask questions of the people that are in your breakout room. It's your opportunity to really, make the most of their time and make the most of your time. So what do you want to know, and how can their knowledge and their network help you kind of move forward? So finally, networking building blocks. So networking is kind of intimidating. I will also say that I never really used to enjoy it, but I think virtual networking, even though, it is really different, I find it a little bit easier actually. Everyone is navigating this new world just like you are. And it's easier to kind of connect with people who you wouldn't normally be connected with. Um, so just be sure to publicize your pre and post event attendance. So I know all of you we're supposed to develop a LinkedIn profile. So you post in your LinkedIn, hey, I'm going to be at ITUP this week. Super excited to kind of hear about the keynote, to listen to the keynote speaker and attend X, Y, and Z workshops. Establish your goals. Do you want to go into this conference kind of learning as much as you can, going to all the workshops? Are you trying to go to this conference because you want to connect with people for future job opportunities? Do you want to kind of have a better sense of the policy realm, and like maybe your niche in it? So thinking about what you want to accomplish, kind of a fun one, use hashtags. This might seem really menial, but at many conferences that I've been to in the past, using hashtags is like a good way to connect with people, to make weird friendships, and people at different companies, and that's kind of cool. I've gotten job offers because I used a hashtag and I connected with someone on LinkedIn. And they were like, hey, like you're also an analyst, like we are hiring analysts. Are you interested? So you really never know what can happen. And engage in real-time messaging during presentations. So if it's, there's a messaging kind of platform on there, throw something in, say hi, ask how others are, like say that's something that you heard was super interesting. And if they're talking about something that you're sort of familiar with, or you have work or you've done work on it, feel free to share some links, share some interesting and informative articles with others. That's always, a super good way to really engage with your audience or people in the audience. And then finally, make an ask and follow up. So whether it's at the meet and greet social, or at a workshop, or in like a larger group setting virtually, what you want to make sure is that before you kind of leave a kind of breakout room or a video call with someone, you make an ask and you follow up. So that ask can be, oh, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn, or, oh, I would love for you to send me the article that you were just talking about. Make sure that there is a way for you to connect with them again, and follow up. So, a couple days after the conference, if you met someone new and, you want to stay connected, send them a quick note on LinkedIn or a quick email and say, hey, it was really great meeting you. I am super excited to stay connected. Here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out with me if you have any opportunities. I will definitely be emailing you all kind of resources, networking trackers, follow-up emails. I can also talk more about this during our live office hours that I'm going to be mentioning in a second. So yeah, there's so many ways you can stay connected and build your network. Your network is your net worth. That was something that people joked about in my undergrad. It was kind of pretentious, but it sort of is true. Like you are nothing, like your relationships are everything. Like the relationships that you make with people will get you jobs. They will get you opportunities. They'll open doors. And it doesn't need to be, like, oh, you're schmoozing and boozing. It's just like a nice note or a nice conversation or, a thank you message that you send. So nothing too intense, just a nice little ping. And sometimes that's all it takes. And my last 3 final words of advice, dress to impress yourself. I know it's virtually, but I wore a dress and a denim jacket like I wore outside clothes today, and I feel a lot better. So dress for this conference like you're going to be there in person. It'll make you feel a lot better. Next up is do your research. So make sure that you know who you're going to be talking to during these like one-on-one sessions. Know what their background is, do some like LinkedIn stalking, read their bios if they're available. Just know who your audience is and what kind of questions make sense to ask. And finally, step out of your comfort zone. This was really hard for me as an undergrad. I, you know, did not love going into a big group of people, into like a little like cocktail circle, kind of intimidating. But you just got to step outside your comfort zone. And the best advice that I have ever heard, and I'm sure you've also heard it, but has really changed my life, is literally just fake it till you make it. Even if you don't feel confident, if you just say, yeah, I'm confident. Just fake it. Just trick yourself into thinking that you are totally, totally capable of doing everything that you don't think you can, because you are. You're so capable. You deserve to be at this conference. You are a health scholar, like you deserve to be here. So make the most of the opportunity. So we're wrapping up. This is the webinar activity for this week. As we wrap up, just practice your pitch, practice, practice, practice. I'm also going to ask you to write 2 questions that you want to ask during our event. I know you don't know who the speakers are yet, but maybe think of one career-related question that really matters to you, and one public health-related question. This is not due before next week. Even though it theoretically is due on March 1st with the rest of the items, I really highly, highly encourage that you develop a question or 2 questions before the event itself. It's always super uncomfortable when you're in a really quiet breakout room. And so having questions kind of at the ready is going to be really, really helpful. I'm going to be sending out a Google form next week or in the next 2 weeks, I believe, where you're going to be able to rank the individuals that you want to be placed in a breakout room with. So make sure that you do that. And then get familiar with the ITEP conference website. So I know that there will be a way for you to build your itinerary to kind of make now known that you're going to be going to be at this conference. You're going to be able to like view the attendance list and things like that. So just get familiar. That is the conference venue, the website. So just know your way around. And then attend next week's live office hours. Information will be in the email that I send. There's also information on a later slide. So preparing for the conference, just get familiar with the website. I'm not going to read through this. You can just go on the website. This is just another reminder to get used to the website. And finally, our final live session. I'm going to be hosting office hours, Zoom office hours with other Kalahia staff that you watched the past 2 weeks. Denzel and Maurice will try to make it. These are my times. So I'm going to be on next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. The email that I will send the Monday of February 15th will have a Zoom links for the rest of the week. But please mark these on your calendar, pick a time that works for your schedule. And if you cannot make it, email me. These sessions will be to practice your pitches. If you have any questions about the event or having issues with the website, feel free. I also just want to get to know you guys. I know it's like weird having this program be totally kind of divorced from like live Zoom sessions. We normally do this asynchronous just because it's sometimes really hard to coordinate 30 people's schedules, especially when you're all students. But I figured this could be a really good time to get to know each other. I am happy to answer any questions about my public health journey. I was primarily a qualitative researcher, as I said, totally shifted into a very heavy policy wonky type situation, and I love it. And I'm sure Denzel and Maurice can also answer questions. I know a couple of you are also pre-med. I was also in pre-med, and have a lot of other friends in med school. So also happy to answer questions about that. So yeah, feel free to join in. I'll be on there. We can have like a cup of tea together. And yeah, I'm super excited to see you guys next week before our final in-person event, the week of the 22nd on Monday. So yeah, here are just some resources about career development and networking. Feel free to kind of check them out. I would highly recommend the UC Berkeley Career Lab. It's for business students, but I think they're super helpful in terms of figuring out how you want to apply for jobs and career stuff and all that fun stuff, as well as public health careers. This is how I learned and found all my resources for applying to grad school. So do with this as you will. And yeah, I will see you all next week. Hopefully, I get to meet a bunch of you. And if you haven't already, make sure you're keeping track and keeping up with the homework. And yes, that is it. I'll see you all next week. Okay, bye.